I said to my grandfather, "How did you get your name?" And so I'm doing this family interview with him, and he tells me that he came over in 1910 on a ship. He called it the Kessel Garden. I think that's what he called it, the Castle Garden, Kessel Garden. And he had come in with his brother Avrum, Abraham essentially. And he was sent for by his three brothers who had come to America earlier. He had come from a little town of Felesht in Romania. Now, he said sometimes it was, in his Yiddish, Eastern European, sometimes it was Romania, then sometimes it was Russian, sometimes it's Romania. But every time he says Romania, it's like he starts singing Romania, 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 Romania. And he did that to the delight and annoyance of everyone for all of his life. And he would sing it and sing it and sing it. At the top of the gangplank, his name was Leib Kalinsky, and his brother was Avram Kalinsky. So here's Leib Kalinsky. He's about 15 years old. It's 1910. He's just made that journey in steerage. He speaks only Yiddish, a little Russian maybe, or Romanian, whatever was in the language, and he comes down the gangplank. He comes through customs, and his name is now Louis Martin. And that's why I asked, I said, "Grandpa, how did you get the name Louis Martin from Leib Kalinsky?" Well, here's the story. His brothers who had come here earlier, somewhere in the late 1800s, early 1900s, one sent for the next, sent for the next. He said that his brother Henry had gone out to Utah when he came to America. I said, "What do you mean he went to Utah?" And my granddad said, "Yeah, he went to Utah to become a farmer, and while he was in Utah, he changed his name to Henry Martin. He was Harry Kalinsky, and he went with his wife Rebecca, and they become farmers in Utah." Well, I thought that, and I'm serious, I thought my grandfather had had a little too much schnapps that day. In fact, in 1910, the governor of Utah solicited families around the United States to go to Utah to set up farming colonies. One of the solicitations was to Philadelphia group, and they became the Clarion, C-L-A-R-I-O-N, Clarion colony. They went, they trained in an agriculture, Jewish agricultural school south of Doylestown. Doylestown is about an hour, I guess, north of Philadelphia. And south of there was a Jewish agricultural school. It is now called Delaware Valley College, and it became a college. And they trained to be farmers. They go out to Utah from 1910 to 1920, and the colony failed. They did not really know how to farm. They did their best, and they all came back. And so he said his brothers didn't do well as farmers, and that they came back to Philadelphia, settled in, and they sent for my grandfather and his brother Avrum. Well, I said, "What happened to Avrum?" Well, Avrum stayed in Philadelphia for a year only. He hated Philadelphia, and he got on a boat and he went back to the town of Felesht. I said, "Why would you go back to the town of Felesht?" My grandfather said he had a great job that he couldn't do in America. What job would make you go back to the old country? My grandfather said something, he was a tachamachist, and words I could not understand. I said, "Well, what does that mean?" He was a chimney sweep in Felesht, and he made a good living in Felesht, if you can believe that's what you make a good living at.